Hey guys, and welcome to week 2 with Delphi, my 3-year-old. So if you haven't watched the first week, this is a series where I'm going to be breaking in my 3-year-old that I bought as a foal and bringing you guys along on the journey, of course. So last week we taught her about pressure, backing up, turning away from me, and also she started lunging, she was very, very good. So this week she's going to get some tack on. She's going to be lunging on with tack. And I'm going to introduce her to the contact. I'm going to show you how I do that with them. Okay, hello. As you can see, she's not lost her curiosity and her need for affection, but she's a lot more polite. She's really listening to me. She's even easier to lead in and out of the field. So I'm going to get her tack on. I'm going to show you how we do it. She's never had a saddle on before. I don't think it's going to be an issue. She's very, very quiet. And not afraid of anything, as we've learned. The only thing that sometimes they react to is the girth, because they've never really had that feeling before. Even if they've had rugs on them and stuff, they've never had something like squeezing them in their belly. So I'll show you what I do when I put that on. So I'm going to get the saddle and get started. So the saddle pad starts. Obviously it's light and easy, and okay, maybe she will react a little bit. Okay, so I'm just keeping my energy very chill. I don't really care what's happening. This saddle pad is just flapping of its own accord. I'm like just chatting to her, reassuring her, yep, this is no problem. Maybe it's going to touch her belly. It's no problem. She's actually a little bit more nervous than I thought she would be. However, she has actually never had a rug on, I just realized. So that's probably why. You can see she's having a little flinch every time it touches her. Her eye is like, she's very alert. Her ear is on the saddle pad, but there she just took a bit of a breath and she's kind of chilling about it now. Do you want to have a look at it now that you know what it's going to do? Good girl. And I don't want to be holding her in place. I want her to stand and be good, but I just have the rope on. Just if she were to leave the situation, I could just ask her to come back down. This is all good. She's very positive. So I'll leave that on her there. I usually do both sides, but just for the video, it's a little bit easier for her just to stay there. And I'll get the saddle. Stay there, you little divil. Oh, she'll probably take it off her. She's so cheeky. Right, saddle now. Show it to her. So this is an old saddle I use for all the breaking. And the same, like, I don't want to be creeping up on her and being like, oh, you know, putting on, like, let it flap around, make some noise, no problem. Sit on her back, give her a pat the saddle, because that does make a big noise, so I always do this. And you can see she's like, what is this noise? But I'm just keeping my body language chill. We're just chilling, mate, yeah. This is no problem. Good girl. And you can see she relaxes when she sees that I'm relaxed. She's a very good girl. So I'll just do that again. Show it to her. Good girl. Pop it up in her back. Again, not being all, you know, nicey about it. Just popping it on her. Bit of noise. Good girl. She takes a step forward. Just back. Good girl. Just stay where she was. Ooh. I think she's actually leaving because she doesn't care anymore. This is not exciting. She wants to look in the food bucket for some treats. Don't you? So I put the girth on. Now, I will have to turn you around, sorry. Good, very polite. So come on this side. I'm sorry that you can't really see me, but I'm literally just putting the girth on. This side, again, flapping it around. I don't really care. I usually use quite a big girth so that I don't have to put a lot of pressure on her. The last thing you want is to be like squeezing her belly to get the girth on. That would not be ideal. So I usually use a big girth. So that's hanging down by her, but I'm going to walk her with it. Again, she's just going to have to get used to all the flapping, the noise, the jangling. So what I usually do is just give her a little pet, just so she knows there's going to be pressure there. I usually just give her a bit of a taster of it. Yeah, it's going to be like that. As you can see, I have loads of room to put this girth on. It's not going to be tight on her. I hope you can see. And I'm just going to pop it on her. Good girl. Woo. So she wants to eat hay. She really is not bothered at all. So I'm just going to put it on the first hole. Actually the second hole, because it really is very big. And then if you have a horse that you're worried might like erupt or they're very tense, I don't think she is, but I always do this. Their first steps with the girth on, I just turn them in the circle like the groundwork pattern. So they're immediately like in a relaxed way of moving. Just because sometimes they can be fine with it on and then they take a step and then suddenly they feel it and then they can erupt. But she's a very good girl. So now it's time to put her bridle on for the very first time, your first time with the bit in your mouth. I just use a French link snaffle, like one like this, for every horse. I use it for the breakers, I use it for all the horses I ride, and then if they need something else, I'll change their bit. But this is my like basic bit. So my darling, your first bridle, is that going to fit over your head? Might just make it a bit extra bigger so I'm not again pulling her in the mouth. I'd rather a bit too loose and then I can tighten it up once it's on you. But again, nothing crazy. I'm just going to put it on her like a normal horse because we don't be making big deals about things in this yard. Ah, my sweet. And of course, if you had a young horse that was spooky, you know, you'd do all this desensitizing, blah, blah. She's well desensitized. She's had 3 years of living with me. It's not a problem. Now, my sweet girl. So just the same as you would do with a normal horse. And she's going to go and try and spit it out because there's something in her mouth that she's never had in her mouth before. Of course, that's normal. Good girl. So I'm just holding it a bit on, on her head because it's obviously a bit big, just so I can give me a chance to shorten it up to the correct size. And I'll shorten up a little bit here. Honestly, too loose is almost more annoying for them because they feel like they're about to spit it out and it never actually comes out. That's a perfect fit, my doll. You're going to be the same size as a few of the other horses, which is very handy. This is also why I love a rope halter, because you can just keep it on underneath the bridle as opposed to a bulky normal halter. But obviously I use the rope halter because of the more accurate pressure it can give. And I'm going to obviously have the noseband super loose because I don't mind if she's chewing and opening her mouth. Of course, she's going to want to get used to it. So that's absolutely no problem. And then I just tie up the reins so she's not going to get caught in them. So I just roll them up like this and put them through the throat lash and tie it up nice and tight. Right, so I do this and then I'm going to lunge her and do the groundwork, and just every day now she's just doing what she has been doing but with tack on. But I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to just leave her in the stable like this because, as you can see, she's so focused on this bit right now. She's not thinking about me. She's not going to be thinking about lunging. She's distracted. And her little baby brain cannot concentrate on many things at once. So I think it's fair that I just let her get used to that. And when that becomes normal, then I'll do some work with her later. So that's why I use this old saddle that I don't care about, because she's probably going to like hit off the edge of the stables and stuff. I'll even leave her some hay. She can eat around the bit. She's fine. She'll work it out. Yeah, I just want her to get used to it. It's like if you have braces, they feel really strange at the start and then you don't even feel them anymore as someone that had braces. So I'm going to leave her to it and I'm going to lunge her, and then I'll catch up with you guys probably tomorrow because the lunging will just be the same as it has been for the last week. So I will see you tomorrow. Whoa. Good girl. Hey guys, and welcome to day 6 already of breaking in Delphi. So yesterday you saw that I put tack on her for the first time. I lunged her with the tack. She didn't care less, no bucking, no nothing. I really try to never get to the point where the horse is bucking or afraid of the tack. You know, if they seem tense, I'll turn them in the circles, do the groundwork pattern, and then lunge with her. I just did the groundwork pattern once, and then I lunged her, and she was perfect. So today I'm going to start the process of mouthing her, teaching what the bit means. I think there's a few ways of saying what I'm doing, but basically just teaching her the contact. So what I do and what I've been doing, literally, I think someone showed me this like 16 years ago, and this is still how I break in all the horses. And also I use this on older horses that, you know, are very hard on the mouth. It's basically just, I'll turn her around so you can see. So the setup is I use baling twine, strings is what we always call it. The reason I use this is because one, you can make it any length you want, you can adjust it exactly as you want it, and two, it will snap if the horse gets a fright, puts their head up, you know, gets a leg over it or something like that, it'll just snap. Some twine is stronger than others, so be careful because not all of it will snap. Learned that the hard way. So where it goes is it attaches to the D-ring, through the bit, and then to underneath the base of the saddle. And because it's not fixed to the bit, it means that she can go anywhere from up here to low down. She's such a good demonstrator. So one thing I like compared to, say, side reins, and like I'm not like against anything, like loads of people use side reins, people use long reining to teach them. Like I think whatever works for you, go for it. Like this is just what I personally use. I like that it goes up towards where your hands would be, so it's a bit more of like that's where the contact will be when you're riding. And the other thing I like more than riding with draw reins is that it's very black and white. So there's contact on their mouth, and once they soften, you know, lower their head, the contact's gone immediately. Whereas I feel like when people ride with draw reins, you know, you take the contact and sometimes the horse sets their head down and you keep taking the contact and there's not like a clear release. It needs to be so black and white so they understand. Pressure on their mouth, they soften. The pressure disappears. So it's just really, really clear, really black and white for them. And I find that they really understand it quite well. I start really, really long like this because when they're learning to lunge, already it's a little bit, you know, you're really encouraging them to go forward. So you don't want anything like holding them back. And they only feel the contact if they really put their head up. They feel the contact, but generally they feel nothing. And then as they get more confident, is slowly, I make it a little bit tighter. And the very end goal is for there to be no contact with the strings when the horse is in like a neutral position. I think the problem that happens sometimes that people think that this is tying their head down, it shouldn't be. So if there is contact on their mouth when their head is behind the vertical, that's not correct because then there's no release, there's no reward, and then you are just tying their head down. It needs to be so when the horse is in the position you want, where they're kind of round and soft, there's no contact. That's the goal. And I think that's the key to having a soft mouth as opposed to a horse that's just fixed in position. I like the feeling that there's like almost no contact. So that is what works for me. I just want to show you one more thing that I always do with the babies. Delphi's demonstrating because I just did it with her once and she's a very, very quick learner. But it's carrot stretches just with some treats. Like horses, she's been living her own way for 3 years. They're always going to have a preference one side versus the other. So I think it's really important to make sure that they're flexible to both ways. Flexibility is so much easier when they're young. It's better to start now. It's the same with kids. Like it's easier to teach kids the splits than me the splits right now. That would be just a disaster. Good girl. And this side maybe a little bit harder, which again is what we've seen, that she's a little bit stiffer to the right, which is good. It means that I can work on it in many ways. I can work on it on the lunge, I can work on it with the groundwork, and I can work on it with some treats, and it's just really nice. And then it's also a way to reward them and give them treats, but for actually doing something instead of just giving them treats for no reason. I know it sounds bad that they need a reason to give them treats, but look at that. You're so clever. So that was her first day doing it, and as you can see, she's very food motivated. And then we can do a little one down here. Oh, she's so clever. She'd do anything for food, just like her mom. So this is still the 7th day that I was working with Delphi. It's just after I lunched her, I decided to do a little bit of training with the mounting block and getting up on her, which is exciting. So here I'm teaching her to stand on the mounting block. It's pretty basic. It's just a little bit of repetition. I ask her to stand. I say, whoa. I go to pat her and she starts to walk forward. I tell her not to. She tries to walk backwards. I say, no, you need to stand still. And the 3rd time around, she understands. I bring her back forward, place her at the mounting block, say whoa, and she stands still. She's very quick learner. She's a very good girl. She just thought I wanted her to do something, but I actually wanted her to do nothing. So when she understood that, I gave her a good pat. Then I get up the mounting block. I'm just patting her, hitting the saddle, making some noise, making some shuffling. When she goes to walk backwards, I just ask her to walk forward a step back to where she was. I'm just kind of making noise and being annoying, basically. Then I do a little bit of jumping up and down beside her. She was pretty relaxed about that. She does take a few steps back here. So she just thinks I'm asking her to do something, but she's not sure what. So as soon as she stands still, which is what I want her to do, I stop jumping and reward. And I just repeat this. I just jump when she stays standing still or relaxes or gives any sort of sign that she's relaxing. So she lowers her head or, softens her neck or licks and chews a little bit. I just stop and I reward. And I also do it on both sides just for completeness, really. So just more jumping up and down, getting used to me just, kind of being a bit crazy. So then when I do sit on her, nothing's going to faze her because she's used to me doing very, very silly things. And then just to finish, I bring her back to the mounting block, do a little bit of practicing standing and lie over her. And this time I lean some weight onto her back. And again, she doesn't mind. You can see she's a little bit tense in her neck, and I just use the rope to just ask for a little bit of flexion in her neck, which causes her to soften and relax, which is just from the groundwork training. She's really looking because there's a horse neighing, so that's why. But it's good to have those tools that I can ask her to relax, and she does. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe next week I'll be sitting on her, which is so exciting. See you guys.